Hey followers, this is your boy, movie maker Doug 55. Today I have two special guests with me. I have my coach, Andy McPhee, and you all know about him by now. And I also have mental health advocate, Matt Runnalls. Welcome,
Me, Doug.
guys.
It's good to see you both bright and early over here in Melbourne. So just got out of bed, and what a way to start the day.
Yeah, great start, mates. It's about, what is it now here, Doug? 3 p.m. in LA, I think it is. Doug's he's in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm in Los Angeles. So, yeah, well, sorry to get you out of bed early, mate.
No better way to start the day. Quite happy,
I know, right? And look, just quickly, as I do when we start these series, like how I met Matt was, it would have been quite a few years ago now. I'm thinking maybe 3, I would guess. And it was because Matt is the CEO of Mindful.org Australia, which is about mental health and suicide prevention and awareness. And I was invited by Mel, who's also going to be on here. She does her own brand of, I think it's clothing, isn't it? But it's all to do again with mental health and suicide awareness and prevention. So that's how I met Matt at an event that Mel was running, and we've been friends since, and it's been really great. Just hoping to make a difference, and this series is perfect. So Matt, I just hand it over to you to just give a little brief outline of where you are now with your company and how that sort of started, and then Doug will jump in and question the heck out of you.
Awesome. Unfortunately for me, I got to this place in this chair and this morning from going through a lot of difficult challenges and situations in life. But unfortunately for me, I've now lost 9 mates to suicide, and experienced my own challenges with mind and behavioral health, and experienced homelessness. So when you go through all of those experiences, it was sitting up the back of a funeral and recognizing that I could continue to point the fingers and blame every other single person in the community, in the world, for the way in which people were to each other, or the way in which I kept losing mates, or I could turn around and go, enough's enough. And if I've living with all these experiences, there's something there that I can do with and create magic with for others. So it was just a kick up the butt that I needed to get into advocacy and to start sharing these things for the betterment of others. And in 2016, I launched a non-for-profit mental health charity that's Mindful Oz, which encourages people to come out of the shadows of surrounding stigma via self-acceptance, via stories of hope, healing, and recovery. And the same things that it was my rediscovery of hope, and that was in people's kindness. So we just want to put the tools and techniques back into other people's hands so that they can recognize just how strong and beautiful they are, so that they can live a healthy, happy, and fulfilling life just the way that I do now. And many other people around the world that live with diagnosis. As I always say, it doesn't have to define who we are. It's just a part of the makeup, and we're dealt the cards we've got because we're strong enough to live it. So, I think when we can change the culture around what that looks like for mind and behavioural health here in Australia and all over the world, and give people the basic understanding that the human being is wired for love, belonging, connection. And when we show up and provide that for each other every day, this place is a nice place to live in. And it doesn't have to be one filled with ideation and chronic suicidal thoughts. So, it's a lot of traumatic experiences that got me here, but I'm very grateful and blessed that I've been able to use some of those for the betterment of others. And now I live a purposeful life, which is a very beautiful thing to wake up to every morning.
Yeah, that's amazing. Sorry, Doug, where you go, mate?
Yeah, I see the emotion on your face, and I can tell that you're very outspoken about mental health. I have to commend you. And a few years back, I went through a rough spot myself, and I'm not going to go into too many details about it, but there was a point where I did contemplate on suicide. You know what changed my mind? Have you ever seen the movie Joseph, King of Dreams?
No, I haven't.
It's an animated film by DreamWorks, and it stars an Australian singer named David Campbell. And he sings the song titled You Know Better Than I, which is based on Joseph from the Bible. And that song played when I was contemplating on suicide. And when I heard that song, which I grew up with in my childhood, I changed my mind. And yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about it, mate. It's about, you know, these different things and different ways in which we find hope, healing, and recovery. And if we can share those tools and techniques with as many people as humanly possible, hopefully we can
Yeah,
help keep more people here and choosing life tomorrow. Because you know, we don't realize how strong we can be until being strong is the only option. And sometimes it takes some of those thoughts and feelings and those challenges and tragedies to realize our path and to realize that they're crafting us into the person that we're meant to become, even though they're very difficult to experience.
yeah, that's amazing, and that's a great. Thanks, Matt, for your share. It's really, really touching, and Doug too, because I knew a little bit about that with Doug, but not quite a lot. We've been working together for nearly 4.5, 5 years. But look, the thing that you just said then a minute ago, Matt, was it doesn't define us, and that's so important. Like we'll be bringing people on who are vision impaired and blind, and you know, deaf, hearing impaired, because I want to spread this. Doug and myself want to spread this to everybody, and we're just working on at the moment getting a lady to help sign language, so we don't leave anybody out. So people can watch this, and if they're deaf, they can join in too, because it's about everybody we can touch. And you know, Doug's not defined by him having Asperger's, or you're not defined by what happened to you in your life, and the same with me. Like this series is not about me, but I've gone through similar sort of things when I was younger, and heading in the wrong direction. Like totally, it's amazing I didn't end up buried somewhere with the people I was hanging around with, because people around me did. And so it's just defining moments. Something pulls you away, and you just go, no, this is not where I want to go. And then you're led to this moment right here now where you hope to be touching other people, and especially with COVID, has probably increased mental health issues, like just skyrocketed, I'm sure,
Yeah, well, I think even over here in Australia right now that they were estimating 400,000 people will be hospitalised, and they've already lost 1,000 lives in the last 4 months to suicide, which is an all-time high for us. And 1/3 of the population is claimed that they're experiencing mind and behavioural health challenges. So what we're going through right now is very difficult, and it's going to be very difficult for some time, and it'll be no different over in America, if not worse. So yeah, the importance of knowing that there is really good people around that want to see you smile again, and that are aching to see you back to your true self. So yeah, hopefully, like Doug said, we can find those moments that keep us here, and that's a very beautiful thing.
Yeah, I just posted something yesterday on Instagram, just a couple of little flyers about dealing with COVID, and just look, no one has the answers. We hear so much going on now on social media. We don't know what the truth is half the time, but we do know that let's just stick to what they're telling us to do, and wearing the mask and doing everything we can to stop the spread of this. Because I just read this morning, in the States it's climbing dramatically here again. Like it's incredible, and no one has an answer. But if we stick together, if you're feeling down, just call a friend. Like do not, like social media now, you can be on a call to someone immediately if you're not feeling right, and so just reach out. Doug, do you have any questions about that? And even dealing with COVID now, any of your friends, or what you'd like to ask Matt?
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to ask, how did you get to where you are today as a mental health advocate? How did you start your company?
Yeah, I mean, organically, I got pushed into the limelight. I had obviously a story that needed to be told, but I was too scared, like many are, to step in and to share it because it's daunting. And one day I was asked if I would share a little bit about a run that I did. So I ran, don't know the conversion to miles, but I ran a fair distance in Australia to raise money for mental health awareness and to raise money. So he asked me to share my story in front of his workplace. However, when I got there, he pushed me out in front of the microphone in front of his workplace and said that Matt Runnalls today will be talking about his journey with mental health and suicide, which at the time I wasn't a big fan of, but I told it, and I did it for the first time ever, and I seen the impact that it had on people's faces. I seen the emotion in the room, and I seen the people that were coming up and just saying, hey, I'd never seen someone talk so openly and authentically about mind and behavioural health issues, especially not a male. So from that moment on, it was just like, I've got to do this as often as I can to as many people as humanly possible all around the world, to whoever will listen to me. So I went about it from then on. I started a Facebook page and got straight into just sharing things of hope, healing, and recovery, the same things that led me to be in a place of wellness, and tips, tricks, advice, strategies that can help people live well. So, and through that platform, it just kept growing and growing and growing. And there was a real need to hear me speak. And I was getting booked left, right, and center in different places and organizations. And yeah, just organically, it grew into a non-for-profit charity, which now we work thoroughly throughout primary schools, work with kids as young as 3 and 4, a bit helping them identify, control, and express their emotions. And yeah, the advocacy just took right off. And now I just bound out of bed every single day. Just grateful for the opportunity that people have a value on my life and the things that I've experienced, and they want to hear about it and they want to learn more. And through that, we can change the narrative around what it looks like to live with diagnosis or to live with struggle, because as I said, there's a lot of people out there that recoil at the topic. There's a lot of people out there that think that what they're living with is a life sentence, and it does not have to be if we tap into the strengths of who we are. So that's a very, very beautiful thing. And I'm just very grateful, as I said, for all the people that value the work that I do and book me and have me places to share, because there's a sense of purpose and belonging there for me now that never existed as well.
Yeah, that's great. And that's pretty much what you just summed up, where Doug and myself came up with this, because I started to see him really bounding forward. Like, it was, at first we're just coaching. We're working on our own book at the moment, a science fiction book. He did the other 7 by himself, of course. I mean, I have trouble just writing a shopping list, mate, let alone a book, let alone a book of 520 words in a month. But, you know, I started to see him suddenly like, wow, this kid's really growing, and his social media is growing. And I coached him on that, but I don't know anything about it. I just said, listen, mate, you need to research this. I gave him a few hints on things that I knew, but he took it on, and just all of a sudden it's just growing big. And now his book's literally going worldwide. And I thought, okay, this story needs to be shared. And then I looked at all the friends in my life and I went, you know, I've got so many friends in my life that could be in this program sharing alongside Doug to just help other people. Like, if it takes one person, I remember you telling me once, and I think probably the story's a little graphic for you to share, but it was alongside Kevin Hines when you were at that school. And, you know, you mentioned something, and one little kid came up to you and said, oh, hey, I was dealing with this. And it was pretty graphic what you told us. And I probably won't want to share it here because it's a bit full on. Yep. But you open your mouth and everyone went, you shouldn't have said that. Next thing, this kid come up, and you basically changed his life and the people around him through what you shared. And
yeah, I think that's really important. There's for a long time, we've tiptoed and sugar-coated the things that we experience at the fear of upsetting someone, you know, and I think that at the fear of we're always going to upset people. We're always going to cause emotion in people. But what's really important is that we tell the truth and we be who we authentically are. And when you be who you authentically are and you share your truths and you step in and own your problems and challenges, then you give permission to everyone else to do the same thing. And so I think that these are what it takes of an advocate, is to mimic the behaviors of what we want everyone else to imitate, because people are followers. People are looking for hope in you. People are looking for something in you that they can do in themselves. So let's model the right behaviors. And I think that starts with being authentically yourself 24/7, showing up as me, all flaws, perfectly stitched together, full of flaws, and just being who I really am. And through that, I'll find my friends and family, and I'll separate myself from the people that don't want to be a part of that. And that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah, and Doug's Doug's actually helped me in that, because a friend of mine who I'm hoping to get on the show, Ron, he's wheelchair bound, but at the moment he's having stem cell work, so he may be out of that chair. But he was a tank commander in Israel, and his tank got hit by a landmine. And I met Ron a few years back, and that guy is incredible. Like, he's making such a huge difference. And he brought something up in a podcast the other day, and I relate this to Doug, because Doug's not afraid. He'll post everything, and you know, like, sometimes he gets excited, but that's part of the high functioning. But he doesn't care. he's actually got me going, dude, how many times do we get afraid to post something and think, oh, what if someone doesn't like it? What if someone gives me a thumbs down? Oh, it's never going to not happen. And Ron brought this up. He said, I'm so afraid. He said, I fought in a war where I wasn't afraid of my enemy. He goes, but I'm afraid of an invisible enemy giving me a thumbs down on social media. He goes, how ridiculous is that?
Yeah,
you know, and true. So, yeah, it's so true. And Doug, he just does, of course he cares, but he just goes for it. And he's actually inspired me to, you know, start posting stuff out there. And, you know, I mean, it's not that I don't care. It's just you are going to get people that just got something going on, they're not going to like it, and that's the way it is, you know.
And the way I look at it, you're not going to please everybody in life.
Never. Yeah. No. I mean, I don't know the stats for America, but Australians are 7 times more likely to find a negative than a positive in a situation. So, yeah, you know, if I write a status and I throw out a photo, and there's going to be people that don't like it, and that's okay. Yeah. That is perfectly okay. But it just gives me the perfect understanding of who are my friends, who's my gang, who's my tribe, you know, and I don't need to be worrying about people who don't agree with what I do. Because as long as you show up in alignment of who you truly are every day, you'll always find life satisfaction.
How did you find that, Doug, at school? Like, you would have dealt with pretty much everything Matt just said.
Yeah, a few years back, I went through a rough spot where I struggled academically. I struggled to get along with other people and staff members at my high school and other students. And I did kind of have a little bit of a thing that came with my Asperger's, which is where I got shy to present things to the classroom. My first assignment of my high school period was an essay about when dinosaurs ruled the world. And the first line in my essay was, dinosaurs ruled the world by being enormously large and ferocious. And I went to the front of the classroom to present it. And I didn't know anybody there at the time because I had just moved out of another city. And I got shy. And what I ended up saying was, rhinosaurs ruled the world by being enormously large and ferocious. And the classroom went wild with laughter, and I was really embarrassed.
That's
it kind of was like Doc from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, kind of. You know what I mean?
There's always opportunities. I mean, there's things that you never, as we said, we're never going to have everyone align with who we truly are, but. Yeah, I guess as long as we are comfortable in our own skin, and that's what we try and educate people, is to learn how to love ourselves. And when we learn to love ourselves, then we can truly be loved the way we deserve from others.
Yep. Yeah, it's 100%. And that's what we're hoping with, excuse me, with Doug, is just sharing his story. And we're quite open and honest that, of course, Doug's story is not, it's not the worst life journey you've ever heard, but it is for him. It was for him. It was, you know, for him going through that journey. So even if whatever your journey is, it impacts you as much as what it does, you know, other people's stories. So that's why the variety of this program and having people like yourself on and sharing, you know, the darker side of the journey. But there is light always at the end of that tunnel, you know, to have people like yourself and those, you know, help us who struggle and we can't see that light because we're just living in our own world. And unfortunately, sometimes it does go the full journey where we can't help everybody, but we can't let that stop us. You know, it's, we've just got to keep having people like you and Doug and, you know, just sharing their stories to hope to inspire that one person or 2 or 3 or hopefully more, you know.
Yeah, that's the positive ripple effect of sharing our truth.
Yeah, and my book, From Green Flags to Blue Flags 2, it documents my high school education as well as my history with depression.
That's the one that's doing really well at the moment. I think that's the one that's now in Barnes and Noble. And what other stores is it in, Doug? You said the other day.
Well, it just limited what they said to Barnes and Noble, and they also said it would be in malls across the United States as well as libraries.
Oh, that's great. So
incredible.
cool.
Incredible.
So Doug, have you got any questions before we, close the series down today? Have you got any other questions that may be relevant to now, like dealing with COVID, or what comes up for you, Doug?
Well, to conclude this, I should ask you, what does your future look like as far as a company in this COVID scare?
For me, I've launched another organisation just recently, Doug. So I've got the charity, which is Mindful Australia, and as I said, we predominantly work with young kids to change the way in which they grow up. So we want them to be able to identify, control, and express their emotions in positive ways. And we support the people around them with caregivers and teachers and community members with skill sets that enable our kids to grow up and flourish as who they truly are, and not who the world wants them to be. So I guess there's a lot of work to be done there with the charity. However, I've started another organization where I'll be trying to go down the path of mindset, behavior, leadership, shame, strength-based models to recovery, and just getting away from the mental health side a lot as a side gig, that doing things that I love. So it's talking about ways in which we can change our mindset and ways in which we can adapt a strengths-based model to recovery and approaches to well-being, so that we can live and be our best version of ourselves every day. So there's a lot of work going on at the moment, mate, and I'm very excited. I'm very inspired by a lot of other people around the world. So it's head down, bum up at the moment, and making magic happen for others around there with the experiences that I've gone through. So there's a lot of work being done, but a lot of it's going to have to be taken online, as we've seen with COVID, and that's okay too, as long as we keep providing love, belonging, connection. And as I said, they're the three fundamentals to the human being's condition. So it's what we all need to provide as caregivers and people that say we actively care about the people around us.
Yeah, that's great. And Doug will make sure too, when we put up your details for people who can want to contact you from anywhere in the world, because you come over to America when before COVID started. You do a lot of touring around here with Kevin Hines, who wrote that. It was the book The Ripple Effect, correct?
The movie Suicide: The Ripple Effect, and his book is Cracked, Not Broken.
Ah, okay, yeah. His story's incredible, mate. Like he'd be a great guest to get on this show, just to have him share that story of what happened to him. Like that was just incredible, you know.
Yeah. There's so many people like that all around the world, and it's about finding them and getting them to giving them a platform to share, because as we said, it might be Doug's journey, it might be your journey, Andy, or it could be mine, but they're all going to relate to a different person, and we just don't want anyone to fall through the cracks and not hear those stories and not find the hope and acceptance and the healing that us three have. So the more people who step forward and share their truth, the better this world will be.
That's really cool.
God bless you.
No, thank you for having me on, Doug, and I wish you all the very best. That book, I'm going to have to get one in my hands and give it a read, but it sounds like everything's going great guns, mate, so I wish you all the very best.
Doug will send you one, mate, free of charge. Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh.
Well, what the heck? At some point this year, I'll send you one free of charge.
That's great.
Put it on Andy's bill, mate. Put it on Andy's bill.
Stuff in the future.
All righty. Well, thanks, Matt. Such good to have you on. It was really good to actually see you again. Haven't seen you for a while, and just have you be part of Doug's journey. And Doug, I'll hand it over to you, mate, to close us out.
I want to thank all of our guests for participating in today's series. It means a lot to me, and whenever you guys have a chance, check out my latest screenplay, The Ray Guns of Kronos, War on Claudiusville, Part 1. The new
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
Thanks so much, Doug.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you. And everybody, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Movie Maker Doug 55.